Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be back with another Young Indian, part of the Voice of the Young series. Right now, we have with us Apoorva Singh. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Apoorva.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity. And I've been really amazed by some of the topics raised by some earlier participants of Vidped. For me, I would just be talking about my journey so far in PhD. So, so now when anyone doing the masters comes up to me and asks if they should do a PhD, I tell them, "Are you really sure you want to commit 4 or 5 years of to a research topic?" But truth be told, for me it wasn't that. Like I wasn't sure that I wanted to give 4 or 5 years to a topic, and then I wasn't sure myself. And for me it seemed like they were all pieces of puzzles which are now falling into place. And so it seems like it's sorted very much, but it's not like that. I did my schooling and my bachelor's in civil engineering from Lucknow. That's my hometown. And I was like getting very good grades. So I was kind of expected to appear for the civil services examination. But in the final year of my bachelor's, I sat for the GATE exam because everybody like around me was doing that. And I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone. So because like I had been in my hometown for so long. So also I did my master's in water resources from IIT Guwahati. That is also something which was not very planned, but that's what I kind of got based on my grades. But once I was into this institute, I worked really hard. So, like, I remember in the first week when the classes started, I think I was really intimidated by the fact that these were IIT professors. And I remember there was some concept which skipped me, and I didn't feel confident enough to ask the professor. But then I went back and I watched all the NPTEL videos by this professor. And so, all in all, it was a nice first semester. I got the best of the grades that I could. And now the next step I was aiming for was to go for Germany for the DAAD scholarship. This was it's a IIT Master Sandwich Program, which my seniors had already been selected for. So I kind of knew that this could be done. So, and I remember calling up my parents and asking if around dinner. So I asked, "I'll do you think I can apply for a scholarship for Germany, and I'll be gone for 7 months?" And I remember my father said that if you think it's good for your career, yes, sure, go ahead. And so again, this is the second time I was stepping out of my comfort zone deliberately. And then I was during my masters, I was at TU Darmstadt, which is it's a town close to Frankfurt. I was there for 7 months, and I was working with this transdisciplinary research group. And I think the kind of work that I do today uh, in socio hydrology, I think in hindsight, it seems that there is a lot of inspiration from the work that happened in my master's. Because, like, imagine there is one problem, but in that group there was an economist, an engineer, somebody from political science, a microbiologist, all looking together at one problem. So it was something very new for me, because we have this disciplinary boundaries in India. So if you're a water resources engineer, you looking something at from an engineer's perspective, often not thinking what hindrances could come when you go on to implement this at at a policy level. Then but it was not just about expanding my perspective. I also remember an incident where it was very where I think it also was a very nice learning experience in terms of communication. So it was the last day I was required to give a presentation of my work to the entire group. There were about 25 people, and i- in 10-15 minutes I went on to explain all the hydrology I knew. I prepared nice plots and animations and everything, and I turned to look at the audience, and the audience looked blank. So there was like no expression on their face. I was like, what happened? Then my professor came up and he explained the slides again, and he then went on to explain very simple concepts like runoff coefficients. So, for somebody from a hydrology background, that's a very basic thing. So, what like I realized where I failed was that I was not understanding that my audience was not all from the hydrology background or the engineering background. So, there were people from different disciplines who may not understand what this runoff coefficient or curve numbers mean. So so it was very nice learning experience, that it's always better to know your audience. uh, and I think even until the end of my masters I was not confirmed that I wanted to do a PhD. So I just wanted to go back home, maybe prepare for UPSC, and but I was still working on the research paper from my master's thesis. And I think working on that paper was kind of a game changer for me, because this paper, so we had a manuscript draft, which was doing rounds on our email with me, communicating with my IIT professor and my professor in Germany. And I remember the comments that would come, they were so detailed, and I was answering these questions regarding the plots and the results. And it was such a satisfying journey to learn from, what is already there. And it must have skipped my mind that, okay, we need to add this explanation. So uh, it was also very kind of gave a good understanding of the subject matter, and so it was a very satisfying experience, I'd say, in terms of understanding what real research maybe means. And then when I took up PhD, I had a slight residual question, I would say, from my master's. In my master's, I was working on nature-based solutions for urban flood risk, and we realized that the success of implementing these methods would be very subjective to depending on the socio-economic settings. So something that works in India may not work the same way in Europe, or vice versa. So that was the thought behind taking up social hydrology in PhD. And luckily, when I submitted a proposal, I like my professor at IIT Delhi, she was also looking into this broader field. So that's how I ended up doing PhD, much on the luck. And now I'm doing like I'm still doing my PhD at IIT Delhi, but I'm currently in Newcastle, UK. So I've been here since January under the Commonwealth Split-site Program. And before this, I was at GFZ Potsdam in section hydrology for 3 months, from like the October to December. So that was also a nice experience. So I think I've been out of India for since largely since October last year. Uh, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to go back to India and submitting my thesis soon, hopefully. Um, yeah,
Okay, good.
that's it.
Wonderful. I'm going to learn something today. I never heard of this term, social hydrology. So please tell us what it is that it is in the field, and then how you fit into that field.
Okay, so social hydrology is it's like understanding the complex interactions between human societies and water. So like in the work that I'm doing on focuses on floods, so I'll try to elaborate on that using an example. So for example, we know that anthropogenic activities can trigger floods. So for instance, we create more built up the impervious layers in trees and there is more runoff. But when floods occur, human societies would also respond in terms of maybe strengthening their resilience, or moving away from the river, taking some measure at their own end, some adaptation behavior. And the hypothesis here is that the impact of the floods will depend on this complex interaction between the human societies and floods. And so what we're trying to do is that if we understand this underlying dynamics better, we can better plan for the flood risks, and make a more sustainable flood management strategies. So the aim overall is to make the societies more disaster resilient. And like my work here comes in as a hydrologist uh, from the flood part, but I'm still learning on the social, how to incorporate the human behaviors into it. Yeah.
It's a very important topic. The other day, I heard a young person talk about flash floods, and
Yes.
I have also looked at the floods in Kerala and so on. And it's a very important topic. I want to discuss this a bit with you offline because it's
Okay.
technical, and I want to get into the technical aspects of it with you a little bit. But for the general audience and others, how do you see yourself in the future? I mean, what is your, I mean, you're almost
Uh,
finished with the PhD, so you by now you know what your aim is, your goal is, and young people would like to know what does a person with a PhD in this field do or get after a PhD?
Okay. So I think now, initially, the idea was that if you're doing a PhD, you would definitely go into doing something in the academia. And yes, that is for me also, I think that's my first preference. But also with the kind of work that I'm doing, because it's now so relevant, even industries and insurance agencies are have an R&D section where you can apply for jobs. So then after a PhD, you could still be a part of think tanks. So I think a lot of avenues open up. The only thing is, as long as you're ready to uh, come into the cycle of learning, unlearning, and relearning. And yeah, so I think when it comes to job avenues, it's there's a lot of scope with this. For me personally, I like to teach. I think that academia also opens up a lot of opportunities to learn, also from the new students. So I personally would prefer a job in academia, but yeah, there are a lot of jobs in the industries for this as well.
Okay. And how do you
Yeah.
find the difference between educational institutions in India and now you have been in Germany and UK? So what strikes you?
I think there is a very international aspect when you talk about institutes in Germany and UK. So when see people in India, we do have international students, but the kind of cultural and diversity and I can say, for instance, at GFZ we had nearly people from at least 8 to 10 different countries working together. So it's really nice in that sense. I think India still needs a strategy somewhere to invite and be attractive to more international students. I think the government is doing some thing in that regard, but maybe we need a more boost for that. So that would be a really good thing to do, because we mostly I think mostly it's like we are working uh, with the people so from some limited groups. I think how do we make India more attractive education spot from people from across the globe, so that we also have more case study areas, to look at. So
Okay,
yeah, that would be interesting.
wonderful. Okay. Any tips for young people? I mean, you said you were an act. Who knows why you are doing a PhD? But it's happening and you like it. Okay. So actually,
Yeah,
what is happening, I think, is that though you think it's accidental, it actually fits into your plan.
yes. Actually, to it's a very funny thing. We used to have this career counseling in our school, and you'll be like amused to know that we had this career counseling at the age of we have it at 10th to decide our subjects in 11th and 12th, and then we have it in class 12th to decide our further career paths. And one day I came across this paper written by my career counselor, and PhD was one of the options. And so looking back at it, it seems like maybe she knew what was right for me, and I couldn't see that. So yeah, it just maybe it just fell into place for me. Yeah. Uh, and for young people who are pursuing PhD, I think it's a difficult journey, of course, but it is worthwhile. So you have to, and also I think that you have cherish the 4 5 years of your PhD and take them as a learning experience. I think I came in when I joined my PhD. I was not so good at a lot of skills. I did not know Python programming. Now I program quite well. My communication, I think, has improved, and I developed on more skills and more softwares. So it's a 4 5 year journey, but you can it's also a very nice time to enhance your own skill set. So yes.
All right. And lastly, many people are not quite familiar with Assam and Guwahati. So can you tell us what life was there like for you? I know you're in IIT, so life was really IIT, but still
Yes.
you are in a different town, a different part of India. What is it like for you?
So it was very nice. I really loved the people over there. So also, so even of course, the campus life is very much different from the city life, but we would go out to the city, and we had I remember taking a ferry or sometimes a bus to the main city. So it's just it's like just any other capital city of India. But yes, I think if there are any stereotypes, maybe you should travel and break them and remove them from your mind.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. Anything else you want to add here?
uh, no. Yeah, no. So I think that is it from me. That's it's too much of experience
Okay.
experience sharing. So
All right.
yeah,
All right. Let's end the recording here.
yeah.
I'll be back with
Okay.
another young person or an expert soon. Till then, bye everybody.